Hey everybody, this is Jason. I'm the chair of the Custom Builder Remodel Council. We got a really special program today. We've got some guests from the Builder 20 group, the NAHB Builder 20 clubs, and they're here to discuss the benefits of the Builder 20 group. And we've got some guests from Denver. We've got Dave Lemna. We've got Dave Jackson and Bob Peterson to discuss Builder 20 clubs. Before we get started, I appreciate everybody showing up. I know these times are a little bit strange. We're starting to get used to these Zoom meetings. So I'm glad y'all can log in and be here with us. I know sometimes we're having 2 or 3 of these things a day, so we're really glad for the people who showed up. I want to go ahead and thank our sponsors. The Custom Builder, the CBRC really depends on a lot of our vendor sponsors and associate sponsors, such as Lifescapes, Belgard, Pella Windows, Kitchler Lighting, Colton Mortgage, and of course Ferguson BAC. So I'm gonna go ahead and hand off to Bob Peterson. He's the chairman of the board of trustees of the 20 clubs, and he's going to explain a little bit more about the 20 clubs and kind of see how we can get as builders get more involved. Go ahead, Bob.
Thank you, Jason. Good afternoon, everybody. As Jason said, I'm Bob Peterson from Fort Collins, Colorado. So I am a Colorado native, and I own a company called Associates in Building and Design in Fort Collins. It's a 30-year-old company. Approximately 21 years ago, I discovered the NAHB 20 Club program and have been a member ever since. It's something that I believe in, but it's, my opinion, one of the best kept secrets at NAHB. Donna's going to get me here in a little bit, but a little over 500 company members of the 20 clubs, and in the upper 30s of actual clubs. So it's a organization that's growing. It's getting bigger, and needs to continue to grow because it grows companies. So a club is a group of like-minded companies, and by like-minded I mean there's custom builder clubs, there's remodeler clubs, and there's production builder clubs. So like-minded in the sense that when a club is formed, they're in a situation very similar, so it works well together with what I'm going to say here in a second. But a club meets twice a year, ideal in person. Spring of 2020 has been a little bit of a challenge with in-person meetings, as we all know, which my club's one of the fortunate ones. We met the last week of February in Jamaica, and I guess I call that good timing. But I belong to a Remodeler 20 club. That club is primarily remodelers, but all of us in the club build custom homes as well. So it is kind of a hybrid club. But anyway, you meet the 2.5 days approximately. You kind of control that as a club, but I'm just going to run through a little list here of reasons to be a member. One is when you have a club, 20 club doesn't mean you have 20 members. You kind of control the number of members you have in your club. But one of the big benefits of the clubs is sharing financials. So these clubs are set up geographically so that you're not sharing your financials with your neighbor across the street, so to speak. So it works that way. We've developed documents and forms that allows the financials, everyone to take their different sets of financials, pull them together so they can be easily compared. So we can set standards and compare, learn, and grow. And I'm going to emphasize help each other get better. And I do emphasize to help each other. Another little aspect of it is I know everybody on this has been to a seminar at some time in their life, and they go home with a whole boatload of ideas to implement in their company. About a day and a half after you get home, life hits you in the face, and all those ideas are gone. A 20 club happens to hold you accountable because We set goals, we set parameters, we hold each other accountable, and that's an awesome thing. It kind of acts as a board of directors, and I'm going to say free board of directors, because where else can you get a group of, in my case, 18 other companies like-minded that I always use the example of, if I wake up on Tuesday morning, the wheel falls off of one of my wagons, I can't figure out how to put it back on. I can use the next benefit I'm going to say, send an email out to my club members on a listserv, and I'll probably have 2 or 3 responses within a few hours of how to put that wheel back on. Invaluable. Okay. Networking. I'm here to say that some of my best friends around this country are 20 club members that I've been a member with. They're like family to me, so that's big. Also, specialized speakers. You can bring in speakers and share that cost, in my case, amongst 19 companies. So if you got to spend $5,000 for a speaker to come in, a high-class speaker, where can you get that kind of personal attention and at that cost, if you just do the math there? Other things that I like, and I've looked into a lot of these peer group things. You know, your club sets your own agenda. So as a group, you get to decide what you're going to talk about at your meetings. And I think that's invaluable. You control your membership. There are policies. NAHB has policies that I'm sure we'll get into it a little bit here in a little bit. And then you have your own club policies set out. So to be honest with you, it's been my pleasure to be part of the leadership of this. It's been my pleasure to actually meet and know the next guy I'm going to introduce here in a little bit. But Alan Brandt, I'm going to turn this over to Alan for a little bit. He is kind of, I call him the Godfather. He's the brainchild of this idea back about 25 years ago. And I'm sure Alan's got a lot of things that he can add from here. Alan, your show.
Bob, thank you very much. I'm Alan Brandt. I'm a retired luxury home, custom home builder, and semi-retired land developer in the Denver area at a company called Bainbridge that operated in the Denver, South Metro Denver area for about 30 years. And I'm still doing a little bit of land development. And a couple of years ago, Kim Bailey, who Donna and Devin report to, called me and said she wanted me to get back involved with the 20 clubs. When I was starting my own company, before that, I worked for Tim Sanford, and I knew Joey Ryder, 2 of the premier production builders in Denver back in the 70s, 80s, and early 90s. And they had told me that when they went to the International Builders Show, they had a group of builders they met with from around the country. It was an informal kind of thing, but every year they met to discuss kind of the issues in production building, new ideas, you know, what was on the horizon in terms of lending and sources of money and that sort of thing. They didn't share financial information, but certainly they had a resource group, you know, that they could use the rest of the year, pick up the phone and call the people in their group and talk about issues that came up. A little later on, when I had my own company, I became active at NAHB and serving on the committees and the executive board. I was impressed with the collective wealth of knowledge among the small builders that I met from around the country. But I was also struck by the lack of opportunity most builder members had to access that knowledge and to access the financial benchmarks for their businesses. You know, the active members at NAHB, the committee members and the executive committee members, they had some limited opportunity for information sharing because they met 3 to 6 times a year and you developed some friendships and some resources, but it was still on a somewhat of a limited basis. And everybody on there wasn't always a peer builder in terms of custom builder or production builder, and no one was willing to share financial information. There was no easy way to connect similar builders from Denver or Ohio or Texas into a group and share that information. So as I was involved in the committees, I thought about, you know, we could do this at NAHB and form these clubs. We formed the Build 20 clubs with the idea of, as Bob said, bringing together 18 to 20 builders from different markets, and that's the key element. Everybody in a club is from a different market. with similar types of companies. So small custom builders would all be in one club from 20 different or 18 different markets around the country. If you're a small volume or production builder, you'd be in a club with like-minded people. And later on, we added remodelers clubs. And so you had remodelers from different parts of the country. And they would share everything, including their financial statements, the lawsuits. You have to be willing to be fully committed and participate. If you don't, you're wasting your time and effort. But for those people like Bob who have been fully committed, he's probably earned a multiple of 10 or 15 or 20 times the investment he's ever put into the 20 clubs in terms of what he pays to participate and pays to attend the meetings. I don't know about his bar bill in Jamaica. That might not, that might have impacted the return there a little bit, but I'm sure he's figured out the return on that anyway. So, the goal is to share those financial statements and to serve, as Bob said, as a mutual board of directors. And by doing that, you hold each other accountable for the commitments you make. If your margins are 3% or 10%, your goal is to get them to 20%. You need to make a plan, share that with your club, and follow through on that and report back at future meetings on how you're doing on that. It's just not kind of a, hey, I'm going to get to 20% and you leave and nothing ever happens and nobody ever says, well, whatever happened to your goal, Bob, of getting to 20%? So by learning to be more efficient and more profitable, builders were also able to have more personal time to spend with their families and enjoy their hobbies. Because I think we all know that this business can take up 80 hours or 100 hours a week if you let it, and then it just becomes a job and not as much fun as it was when you got the concept to become a customer or production or a remodeler, a builder or remodeler. So our basic goals were to make members more profitable and to improve their personal lives, and to improve the home building industry by increasing the professionalism of builders at large, and thus reducing, hopefully, the need for governments to impose additional costly rules, regulations, and legislation. Because a lot of that stuff is a result of builders who aren't very professional and cause problems. And then there's a knee-jerk reaction that, well, we have to have a new regulation, we have to pass a new bill, and we have to make all the builders adhere to this, or all the builders have to pay for this because it's, two builders did something that really caused public harm. I know personally that we have achieved the first goal of improving the net profits of builders and improving builders' personal lives. Donna and Devin and Bob can give you some statistics on that. And on a personal basis, I have received, from the original years of the club, I did the moderating for all the clubs. I received personal letters from people who said, the 20 clubs saved my business. They saved my marriage. So people were really, really benefited from getting into a 20 club. In 2018, Kim Bailey and her team identified the demand from builders in the beginning stages of their careers to participate in the 20 club program. And these were mostly people who had been in business like 3 to 4 to 5 years. They weren't 10-year or 15-year veterans. However, for various reasons, they weren't really ready to get into a full 20 club, or they didn't fit, into an existing 20 club. So in order to serve these members, the Connect 10 program was created last year in 2018. A Connect 10 club has 8 to 10 members, and after an initial in-person meeting with the NAHB staff and an assigned mentor, they meet online in virtual meetings. Bob Peterson is mentoring a Connect 10 Remodeler Club, and I'm mentoring a Connect 10 Custom Builder Club. The investment required to be a Connect 10 Club member is lower than the investment required to be a 20 Club member. So that helps these younger firms ease into the program. The first few Connect 10 Club meetings focus on a lot of business basics. NAHB provides outside CPAs and attorneys to discuss a wide variety of issues, including business structure, insurance coverage, customer contracts, vendor contracts, warranties, marketing, retirement planning, a financial statement review, and financial benchmarking. The club's mentor participates in the meeting as well, and we share our knowledge and experience on the issues that are being discussed at each of these meetings. In addition, each member of a Connect 10 club is entitled to 5 hours per year of consulting services from their mentor at no cost to the Connect 10 club member. So in fact, I got a call yesterday, or an email yesterday from one of our members who wants to get together sometime next week and talk about issues that he wants to address. And I'm sure Bob's had those same calls during this past year. The goal for the Connect 10 Club is to establish the basic foundation of their business in order to improve their net profit and operating efficiency, and for the members to move on to a regular 20 club in a 2 to 3 year period. Connect 10 clubs exist to help less experienced builders make the transition from startup to professional builder. NAHB provides them with tools to accomplish that transition with the outside consultants and the mentors serving the program. After the first year, I'd say Donna, Devin, Kim, and I, Bob, are pleased to say that the Connect 10 clubs are successful and on their way, and there'll probably be more clubs launched soon. In conclusion, I would tell you that based on the experience, the feedback I've gotten, my personal participation in a club when I was still active, joining a 20 club or a Connect 10 club is the best thing you'll ever do for your business. With that, I'm going to hand it off to Donna and Devin. Donna is the Director of Network Programs, and Devin is the Director of Business Improvement Programs at NAHB. Thanks.
Thanks, Alan. Hello, everyone. My name is Donna Mistichelli, and I'm here with Devin Perry. He's the Executive Director of Business Improvement Programs. So I just thought I'd go into a little bit about the program and what the requirements are for membership and how someone could get involved. Requirements are simple. You must have a builder membership with your local, which automatically makes you an NAHB member. You must have at least 5% ownership in your home building business or your remodeling business. And you must build at least one home a year, or at least one remodeling project a year. Those are the requirements to go online at nahb.org, to go online and to fill out an application, which then will come directly to our offices, will come to me, and we collect the applications and put them into our database, where they then go out to the members of current 20 clubs, because there's always natural attrition. The clubs need new members every so often. They'll be looking for new members, so they will take the list that I send around of the applicants, and they'll look for like builders or like remodelers that they think may be a good fit for their group that is in a non-competing market. So, so with our help, they will contact the applicant, we call them a prospective member, and if things work out, an initial conversation, they will get invited to a spring or fall meeting. 20 clubs have 2 meetings a year in person, normally under normal circumstances, the spring and the fall, and they stay in touch with each other constantly all throughout the year via listservs. So if a prospective member is invited to a meeting, they will attend the meeting as a prospective member, get to know a particular club, participate in the meeting, and at the end of the meeting, it will be decided if they would be a good fit for the club, and if that person, if they think that they still want to participate in the program, and if they think the club is a good fit for them. So it's a process that's worked very well over the last 25 years. People seem to end up where they belong, and I've facilitated many meetings, and I would say, and Bob and Alan, I think you can back me up, and Dave, you've probably seen it happen as well. nothing's better than having a new member in a club and them having that aha moment. And, you know, a year and a half, 2 years later, they're saying, oh my gosh, you know, I cannot believe what I've learned in just this amount of time and how much better my business is doing. And a lot of people will come into their first meeting, and after sitting there for a couple hours and, you know, everybody's going through either their financials or their what we call member updates, you know, some of them will all of a sudden speak up and say, man, I thought I was doing really great, you know, but our whole idea, you know, the whole idea of the program is to provide, you know, benchmarks and to give you fellow home builders and remodelers that you can actually talk to, be open and talking to, because they're not your competition. And as Bob said, they actually become some of your best friends and even like a family. Devin, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, sure do, Donna. And just remind me, how long have you been with the program?
5 years.
5 years. And my experience is a bit newer, if that's the correct word, than Donna's. I started to oversee the 20 Clubs program this January, and I've been really impressed by the work Donna's done getting me up to speed. But as someone coming from a different background, and my background at the National Association of Home Builders is with our Building Systems Councils, which covers folks that manufacture, build, and supply the offsite construction industry. I see Audrey Grubesic is with us today. She's a modular builder in the Denver area, so it's good to see the offsite world represented. But I've been so just taken back by how passionate the members are of this program. I spent some time in the 20 Clubs Lounge at the International Builders Show, and again, just as folks had the return on their investment, what they get out of interacting with their fellow club members has been really impressive. So again, just a personal story from my point of view, but again, after today's presentation, we certainly hope to see some applications from everybody participating today.
All right, so I think we would like to have Dave Lemna, Local Homes, talk a little bit about his experience. He's in a high volume production club. Dave?
Well, thank you for the intro. I appreciate it. It's definitely a pleasure to be able to talk to everybody online today and just talk about our personal experience with the Builder 20 Club. It's been nothing short of transformational for our business. So I'm going to try to focus on really how it's helped us and, you know, what the club has meant to us. So thank you to Bob and Alan and some of the folks I haven't met before who have really paved the way for this to be an opportunity for us, because it has transformed our business. So we're Local Homes. We are a production builder based in Denver, Colorado, and we started a relatively young company. So starting in 2013, this year we'll build about 400 homes. So this being a part of the production club was absolutely essential that we get out and really understand more folks like us all across the country, and not having, you know, that competitive nature with the members of the club. It's so amazing that you can share so many things. So I learned about the club through the Denver HBA. Jeff Whiten thought it was a good fit for us, and Jeff made the introductions to the team and Donna back in DC. So I know we got started in 2018. I was pretty proud of what we were doing and what we had accomplished. And I thought, you know, we had some pretty good insights and some good things to share with members of the club, that we'd have a lot to contribute. And I thought, you know, we'd probably have some things to learn too. I was flat out wrong. I think the inverse was true. Turns out we knew enough. But the things that we've learned from the team has just been, you know, that amazing difference. And I'll never forget one of the first quotes that I heard. We had 2 new members join in the spring of 2018, and one of the guys that was a veteran of the club said, "I know what you guys tell your wives. I know what you say. You say next year, babe." And that was just such a resounding statement to us, because, you know, that, I'm just going to be frank, that was the group of no bullshit. That was the group that knew exactly what we were going through, the challenges that we face on a day-to-day basis. And oh my gosh, it was just so good. And so probably the next thing to say is the group has a name that does not do it justice. This is not a club. Clubs to me sound silly. This is home building jet fuel or home building steroid. Make no mistake. Yes, it's a club, but you become really good friends with these individuals who help transform your lives and your business. And so just in a short period of time, the 2 years that we've been a part of it, I can definitely say that we've become really good friends. And there are some absolute mentors and inspirational folks out there that have really helped us. So I'll tell you a little bit about just our club, and I've got some examples. So we're 13 builders. A lot are very like us. Some are a lot like us, but different. So for example, some are very custom, and it may be heavily design center and heavily option based. Some are also production based, and they may only build 13 floor plans. Some have been in business for 20 plus years and are extremely financially successful and finance all of their own projects. Many of them also use bank debt and will use joint ventures for projects. So much is the same, so much is different. It really opens your eyes to different ways things are done across the country, and just from different maturity levels of the business. You know, I know the team talked about it before, but we do use a listserv to communicate. And so that is super effective. Yes, we have the meetings, and those are really, really helpful. But one of the things that's the best is when you've got that listserv and you've got every member on that group, if you have a pressing issue that comes up that day, you know, you can ask. You can talk about something like construction defect, or you can ask for an insurance solution. And you know you've got your counterparts out there that if they don't have an answer, it's likely that somebody else on the group will, or they've got another team member that's got something really good to add. So I'm just going to tell you guys, I went through and looked at the last couple of questions that have come through our listserv. I'd just like to share them with the team so people have specifics about what kind of value this adds. We had one of our members looking for a 45-foot wide master down plan. Pretty easy request. We've all got some great things that we've done. So there was a lot of product getting shared. We had a long discussion about the PPP funds and if any of the members were taking advantage of that, how they were treating it, questions about applications, turnaround time, things like that. They're things you may not want to ask. You may not want to ask somebody locally, or maybe there's a dumb question, and you know it's pretty easy to ask the members of your Builder 20 club. We talked about, one of the questions was sales results against goal for April. So that was really helpful for us, just how we're navigating the coronavirus pandemic and what kind of results we see. We had one of our builders ask how we're conducting design center appointments in the pandemic. And so a lot of talk about virtual and other alternatives of how people are dealing with solutions. And I will say some of the best things for us personally that's really empowered local homes is it's really open kimono. I mean, we compare, we share all financials. Everything is submitted into the same forms. You have an opportunity that's usually moderated by a CPA, and you literally get your information presented. You watch everybody else's information get presented and have an opportunity to really understand where you have ability to make improvements in your business based on the best in class in the room and some of the folks that have some room to make up. Another one of the best things is we needed to make a major transformation on our online presence, and it's great when you've got some of your club members out there that have solutions that have worked great. So, you know, you put out a question or you have a discussion about it, and we were able to find a new website management company, one that we just launched a couple of weeks ago, and it's absolutely great. So saved us from interviewing a bunch of companies. You know, when you've got somebody that has made it work, it's great just to trust somebody and get a good answer. Another one of the really good things that we discovered is the Rockefeller habits. We had a gentleman named Vishal Gupta from Park Square Homes in Florida, And Vishal had this great experience with Petra Coaching and using the Rockefeller habits as an enterprise operating system for his company. And that's something we adopted shortly after that meeting. And it's been a total game changer for us. So I think overall, my previous experience, I was with a public home builder. And when you get together with a series of division presidents and you're able to share war stories, where you have that network where you can reach out, this is really like having a meeting with division presidents or owners of, satellite organizations where they've got all the experience or collective experiences that you're going to benefit from. And for me, that's probably the biggest thing, is you just know those individuals that have navigated it well, and all the things that you can certainly learn from. So I will tell you, it has been the single best decision we've made as a home builder since starting, is joining the Builder 20 Club. And so I'm extremely passionate. I talk about it at the Denver HBA, best decision we've made. So that's a little bit about us and how we use the Builder 20 Club.
Thank you, Dave. And I believe you all hosted the last meeting, correct?
We did, and I can vouch for the bar tab component. Ours ended up pretty good.
Donna, I'd like to interject a comment.
Yes, please.
Listening to Dave, his presentation and his comments about passion for the program are identical to comments I heard from people 25 years ago about the passion for the program and the benefits. So I think for our listeners, our attendees, the program has made consistently good results for the people who have participated in the 20 clubs. Bob Peterson's been in it from almost the beginning, and he's continuing to get benefits out of it. So I just wanted to make that note, that it hasn't changed over 25 years in terms of the benefits.
Donna, would it be okay if I added the little bit of the financial thing? Alan brought it up a little bit earlier in his talk about a comment that I had made the other day to everyone. But so when I went to my first meeting in February of 1999, God, that was a long time ago. No,
yeah, but you're only 21 then.
That's right. Thank you, Alan. No, no, I went and frankly, I was scared to death. I was walking into a club that had had 2 meetings already. Wow, they were old pro time 20 club members. They'd had 2 meetings, so I joined in the 3rd meeting. I was scared to death. Walked into the Marriott in San Antonio, Texas. First thing I found out is these guys are cool, guys and gals. We had a couple gals back then. Okay. Second thing I found out when we started discussing our financials was, like Dave just said, I don't know squat. I mean, I had existed for 20 years in this industry, but I didn't know anything. But and then I really found out what it was going to cost, and I don't know what it has cost me. I did mention the word Jamaica a while ago, and that's not an inexpensive place to go, but it was worth it. My club does go to resorts in the spring because it's just what we want to do, and that's our choice. But I'm just going to throw out a number that I think is not too far off. I'm going to say that it's probably cost me about 10 grand a year, maybe 12, to be a member for 20 years, just to keep that there. So that's that's 200, maybe $250,000 it's cost me to be a 20 club member, which sounds like a lot. Okay, I will tell you, in my first year as a 20 club member, I know I increased my gross profit 4 or 5 times that, and I probably got my net profit before taxes back out of that in the first 3 or 4 years as well, which tells me these last 16 years have kind of been free. So, and Alan's right. I learn every time I go. I'm an old guy in my group. I think they're next, there's a couple guys, they're 50s, most of them in their 40s now in the group that I'm in, because it's evolved and changed and so forth. But they asked me one time early in our years together, what are you going to get out of this? And I learn every time. I come home with new ideas. Worst case scenario, I come home with something like, I knew that. I learned that 18 years ago. I just forgot it. So you get to bring it back. So it sounds expensive. It's not. It is by far the best thing I ever did. And I'll pass it on to someone else.
One of the questions we have here is name something specific that people have benefited from. I'll give you two specific things. One from the club I'm mentoring. We were talking in that club about insurance coverage, liability insurance coverage. And one builder said, well, gee, his insurance costs were much, much lower than everybody else's. What he didn't know is he didn't have completed operations coverage in his liability insurance policy. He had slip and fall coverage. So he learned right then and there that he still had about 8 years of liability with no liability coverage on his completed operations. And we said, well, we just pray that, you know, you're not going to have any claims for the next 7 years until that liability tail goes away. But the first thing he did after the meeting, I think, was call his insurance agent and say, I need real liability insurance. So that's in the Connect 10 club. And, you know, that's a club where they're still learning some of the basic building blocks of business foundations. And that was one of them that really struck me as something they'd missed. When I was active in the clubs, you know, I went through the FISLIC RTC days. And one of the benefits of being in the club is the savings loan crisis kind of started in different parts of the country and worked its way around the country till everybody was impacted. But the people who were in the areas where it hit first were telling the rest of the club members about these problems and how to deal with them. And so the rest of us got a heads up. It didn't keep the savings and loans from going out of business in Denver. For those of you who've been around long enough and are old enough, you all remember that. But it did help those of us who knew about it to prepare for it and understand how to deal with it when the savings loan called and said they were calling all your loans, or the federal regulator called you and said, we closed down the S&L. Now what do you do? Well, 20 clubs gave us a head start on dealing with that issue. That was a real lifesaver for us.
So I see that we have a question here. Are all from Aaron Elston? Are all clubs either custom or remodel, or are there hybrid options? So that would be something that when I talk about that everybody finds a fit, or that that each club is like businesses, that is something that when someone reaches out to you from a club to possibly invite you to a meeting, that there will be a discussion about that. You know, like Bob was talking about the fact that he's in a remodeling club, but everyone also does custom builds. So it is basically a hybrid. Just so happens that everyone maybe does a little bit more on the remodeling side, on the high-end remodeling side. So there are some clubs that they do a little bit of everything. And that is something too, that when you fill out an application, it's not just your name and business name. You're also filling out things like average units per year that you do, your average sales volume, your average price per home, or price per job if it's a remodeling company. And then there's also places to add if you're also doing other things. So that's something that everyone will be able to see in the clubs, that that maybe have some people that do a little bit of everything or do a couple different things.
Bob, do you want to take the first stab at the most recent question?
Yeah, since I'm the most recent one to go through one.
That's
No.
correct.
No, be happy to. So I would call this my third economic downturn, this current COVID thing that I've gone through since becoming a 20 club member. You know, Alan said I was 21 when I joined, so I was 4 when I went through the 1980 recession. So, and I didn't make it through that one. So I had to get a job for a little while. But no, in 2001 in Colorado, anyway, here, those of you might remember, we had kind of a tech bust, especially in northern Colorado. That hit me pretty hard. And I will tell you that had I not had a 20 club to lean on a little bit, I might not have made it through that one, because I was still pretty young, and I figured out that I can keep these people busy. To be honest with you, I had 18 employees at the time, and I said, I can keep them busy. We can ride this out. And, about 7 months into it, there was zero cash in the bank. And then I had to do the fire sale, so to speak. Made it through. Phone started ringing again, but it was the 20 club members that I could lean on that helped me through that. Then rolls around 2008. Okay. And I will tell you that from the 2002 or 3 time frame to 2008, I learned a ton. For some reason, and Dave, I know you're a production home builder, but my 20 club said, Bob, what are you sitting on those 20 lots for? I mean, I was not building production anymore. I did some in the 90s. I mean, I was paying taxes, mowing weeds, and waiting for the opportunity. Long story short. Babe,
I'm sorry. I'm not sorry.
Shame.
So the comedy time is over now. No. Anyway, my 20 club looked at me in the eye and said, Bob, sell the lots. I did. I closed on them the end of 2007. Was that a good idea or what? Yes, it was. Okay. I also had 26 employees on October 28th, 2008. December 5th, I had 14. I didn't keep people around very long. Again, 20 club taught me to make decisions and react and so forth. Today my company's twice the size it was in 2008 with 11 employees, and we've learned how to work efficiently and systemized, and all of that's come through the 20 club program. So the answer to that question, Devin, yep, it's helped me survive.
Yeah, I think the thing that the 20 Club did for us is it made you realize what was on the horizon and that you needed to take action and take action now and not defer decisions. And so that selling a house for a small profit and turning it over was far better than hanging on for the one customer that was going to pay you for a full margin, because there wasn't going to be that one customer. You could see it on the horizon. But the sense of what was happening around the country was something that the club conveyed to us, that if you were sitting here by yourself in Denver, I'm not sure we would have gotten that message until it was too late.
And Donna, can you speak to some of the programs we've put together during the COVID-19 pandemic for the members?
Yeah, so it was a challenge when all this started happening. Is that Bob was one of the his clubs was one of the last to get through and have an in-person meeting. I think we had to end them the beginning of March. So we got about nine meetings in out of 36. So we had to go to we offered virtual meetings to our membership, and a lot of them took us up on that. It was something we had never done before. We weren't sure how it was going to work out, but everyone, when we asked everybody after the meetings, they said that definitely in person, they prefer to see everybody in person, but that it was definitely better than nothing and a success, they called it. So yeah, we've been able to do a virtual format for everybody that has wanted one during this COVID-19 crisis. And one thing that I want to add that I did not mention before is another value with your membership is that you get a dedicated staff member, a dedicated 20 Club staff member that works along with your club. And Bob and Dave can probably speak to this. They almost become a member of the team. They should be a member of the team. They're there for the clubs that they're working with all throughout the year, just like the members are there for each other. And we're there to answer any questions you might have and to be a direct source to other resources at NAHB. So as a 20 Club member, maybe you have a codes and standards question or something that, maybe you need to check on with legal or something like that. We can get you directly to someone at NAHB that can help you rather than you trying to sort through it and figure it out. and try to find someone yourself. We can go to the person that you need help from and say, hey, this is my 20 club member, you know, Dave Lemna, can you please help him with this issue? Can you give him some guidance? And so, yeah, so I did not mention before that you do have a dedicated 20 club staff person that works with the group all year long and also travels and goes to the meetings with them. And one other thing, Bob mentioned that they go to Jamaica, that they go to a destination once a year. In the spring, all clubs are different and everything is done on a consensus. So they go to a destination once a year. A lot of clubs only go to member locations and to where one of the members are from. And during the meetings, they will go on a product tour. So they'll go and see some of the members' product, finished product, and processed product, perhaps the member's showroom and office. And the host member gets a lot of feedback, and I think it's a good experience. I don't know, Dave, if you can speak to that a little bit as you hosted. Did you find that it was helpful to have the 20 club your fellow 20 club members go through and look at your product?
Yeah, it was great. And I haven't been to a destination yet. Our next one was supposed to be Oklahoma City. So you guys sound pretty awesome going to Jamaica. We've gone to some pretty boring places, and it's been all about the business. We've got Napa scheduled for the fall, so that's good at least. Hopefully we can go. But yes, seeing an individual operation getting out of your market, seeing a different way to do it, everything from how the team runs the office to the subdivisions, the building practices, being able to talk to their on-site team. You know, typically you're touring around on a bus, or at least that's what we do. We've got the whole team in a bus. We've got a guided tour. We talk about everything about the business, the subdivision, the design centers, the office layout, what the best way to manage. I mean, everything from literally how you manage an architecture or CAD bullpen to, you know, what your layout is of your office. And I know, you know, just one very specific minor thing that made a big difference for us. We happen to be touring a builder in Tennessee, one of our members, and I noticed in every one of John's key executives' office, they had a picture of their entire team at a beautiful destination. And it was just a source of pride for everybody in the group. And that was one thing John did. He said, you know, every single year I take my team on an amazing trip. It's either a fishing trip or a skiing trip, but it's a destination trip. We get this group photo and everybody treasures it. And so it was pretty great for me just to see things like that. And, you know, you just pick up little items like that that just make such a big difference. So, yeah, they're really impactful.
Donna, I would like to mention the CPA advantage here. So NAHB contracts with the CPA firm that is invaluable to us. I know, Dave, you mentioned that typically when you're doing your financials, there's a CPA there to help analyze and point out our shortcomings, right, Dave? Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, that's invaluable. And you kind of get to set up your structure, what you want to learn from the CPA, but the CPA firm that we work with and have for years is a company in Toledo, Ohio that CPA's name is Dave O'Brien. Craig Bodette is his partner. And invaluable information, because at the end of the fiscal year, depending on when your fiscal year is, but it's the end of the calendar year with NAHB, you take your year-end financials and convert them into a document or a form as a member that basically standardizes everything. I mentioned that earlier. So, you know, one of the big differences I see in financials when I consult, or even 20 clubs, is everybody's got different stuff above the line and below the line and overheads, you know, and so forth. This basically standardize it. You submit those to NAHB. It's mandatory to be a member. Donna, you forgot that part. It's a requirement, okay? And you can be fined, and if you're not fined by NAHB, you'll be fined by your membership. But it's a goes into a I'm not sure who does it, but it goes into a system where they're all compiled. So my 19 members' financials all come out together, side-by-side comparisons, graphs showing gross profits, et cetera, and so forth. Tremendously valuable tool. And then the 20 Club program also allows for, after the spring meetings and the financial meetings, you can go back and make some adjustments to your financials if you want to, resubmit them, and don't make them up because you'll get called bullshit on that. But resubmit them and put them back out there because it's just important to compare. There's members that I've had members in my club that are full of it, you know, and they don't survive unless they change. So accountability is another big thing. I want to mention one other thing, Dave, and mine's not here. It's in my home or my office at work. But all of my 20 Club members have a football. Dave, you mentioned, you know, just things. You notice all of my members have a football. It's a Nerf football, so it's not expensive. But on that football, with the biggest Sharpie I could find, and that young lady you guys met a little bit ago, my wife, sorry about that, but now you know who I'm married to. It's nice to have a wife, by the way, that when she gets home, she comes in and says hi. Anyhow, anyway, that football has 2 letters on it. They're about 4-inch high letters, and they're about 3/4 inch wide. It's the letters HT, okay? And anybody want, Dave, you want to take a shot at what that might mean? I'll tell you, head trash, okay? Because head trash is a builder problem. We get head trash, okay? You know, oh, I can't charge that much for that house. I can't charge that much for that kitchen. That's called head trash. So that's a little thing, one of the fun little things that we do. And in most cases, if we have a Zoom meeting with our 20 Club, you can see, you know, back on the credenza behind or something like that, there's that football, just like it was a Super Bowl autographed football, but we value that kind of stuff. So it's a lot of fun as well.
So I see we have a question here. How would a prospective member prepare to apply for membership? I would say to apply for membership, you need to have decided in your own mind that you are ready, and that this is something you're going to commit to. I think Alan, Dave, and Bob can tell you it is a commitment. You're not just joining something to show up and just hang out and have fun. It can be fun, but it is also a big commitment. You'll be held accountable for things with your fellow members, but it's all for your benefit. And once you've decided that you are ready for that commitment, you will you'll just go on. You can just go on NAHB.org and go to the 20 Club section under councils. You can go to 20 Club, and you can, as long as you're a builder member, you just sign in and you can fill out an application for either a builder 20 Club or a remodeler 20 Club. There's a $50 application fee. And once you fill that out and hit submit, it's going to come to me, where we will then be putting it into the database and sending it out to current members. Have I forgotten anything, Bob?
Yeah.
I'd like to add that, you know, you don't really need to prepare to apply for membership other than make the commitment in your mind that you're going to be an active participant in the club. Because all the things that you may be thinking that you have to prepare in order to apply for membership are the things you're going to learn from the club to make your business better. So the only thing you need to do is, you know, go to the website, fill out the application, and say, you know, I'm ready in my mind to commit my time and effort and some dollars to being in a club.
So Donna, I would like to add there that So when you fill out your application and it goes through Donna's hands, it goes on a membership candidate list. Okay, that list is shared with all 36 clubs every month, and I want to, if you apply, I want to ask you to be patient, because not all clubs are looking for members. Not all clubs that are looking for members. For example, if somebody wants to join a production club and Dave's club is looking for a member, Dave can't have another Denver production builder in his club. So it can take some time. I will tell you my history. I said I joined 2 meetings into my club's formation. It's only because, it's not because I didn't apply when I first had an opportunity. It's because it took just a little bit of time to get accepted or invited to a club. So you get invited to that club, you will be asked to sign a confidentiality agreement because of the sharing of financials and so forth. And then at that point, the club membership committee should be letting you know what you need to be prepared for when you come to that first meeting, what you need to bring, financials, whatever. So you bring that with you, and the double evaluation starts. And I say double because the new member has a choice to decide whether to join or not. And the club also has a choice whether to keep that new member or not at the end of the first meeting. So it's a really good system. We as a club have found the absolute hardest part of that system is at the end of a 2.5-day meeting, if you had a new invite that just isn't a good fit, dang, it's hard to tell them. But you got to tell them, because having somebody that doesn't fit in a group is not good for group dynamics either. So just got to be patient. It'll happen. The more people we get on that membership list, the more clubs we can form. Personally, I really said in the beginning, I think this is NAHB's best kept education secret, bar none. And I'm speaking as the 2019 NAHB Education Committee Chairman saying that. And this isn't part of the education department, but I believe it wholeheartedly. So if you've got some interest, follow up with somebody. I know when we wrap up here a little bit, there's contact information. Call me, call Donna, call Alan, call Dave. We'll answer your questions if you need to.
I got a question. Is there a financial system that's recommended? I know I hear the financials a lot and you're comparing financials. Is there something that's standard that is preferred for the 20 clubs?
As far as like QuickBooks or?
Yeah, the QuickBooks, or I know some people use Sage, or there's a bunch of systems out there, accounting codes that need to be used. Is there something, something that you can kind of get a jump on it?
I would say that in my 19 members, there's 2 of us that use Sage, and the rest use QuickBooks. Okay, those are the ones that I see. I use Sage because I love the reports it gives me. I used to be QuickBooks, but it just wasn't filling it out by used to. I switched to Sage in 2005 and have done 2 extensive searches to see if there's something better than Sage. Guess what? I'm still there because it does what I need to. So Jason, I don't think there's a better. I think it's what your software system provides you. You just have to be able to pull your financials out of whatever you're using and put them in the NAHB document, which is pretty easy. It's a drop-down menu. You click on a cell. It tells you exactly what number goes in there out of your financials, and you enter it in. And the only caveat is when you get done with it, you kind of hit end. If your balance sheet doesn't balance, the big old red sign comes on and says out of balance. I mean, so you go back to work a little bit and figure out why the balance sheet doesn't, because balance sheets get pretty complicated. But no, I don't think there's any good prep thing there. Just have some financials. That's the key.
Yeah, I think that's actually a great question for a club itself. I know we've had several folks reach out to us that are a lot like us and then ask questions about the ERP system that we run. And so those are great questions. You find somebody that's a lot like you, and there's no right answer. You just make the best decision and hope that you found somebody that really understands it, and hopefully you're not the first guinea pig to go. And that's always one of the big benefits of the group.
Thank you.
So we had a question about the cost of a 20 club. So the cost can vary greatly depending on the club you're in and where you decide to visit and what type of meeting you have, the hotel cost. But the basic dues are actually charged per club. So each club is responsible for $16,400 a year, which is then divided by the number of members in the club. So you are paying anywhere from $800 to $1,100 a year for your membership. That is all your membership dues are per year. And then your other costs are really actually what you use, what you spend at your meetings. Each of your meetings, we take care of contracting speakers, paying for dinners, contracting hotels, setting everything up. And then at the end of the meeting, we will send out an itemized bill where we split everything evenly between all the members and build them out. So let's say Bob, he has 2 daughters in the business that often come to the meetings with him. So he'll be charged 3 times each cost of the breakdown per member for the meeting. So it's a pretty fair process. And I would say that you're spending anywhere from $4,000 to $9,000 a year on travel if it's just one person. I would say that that's a good estimate. And you do have a first-time fee of $600. That is just a first-time fee that you only pay that after your first meeting if you join. And let's say, for instance, if you decide to leave one club and go to another, which doesn't happen very often, but if it does happen, you do not pay that fee again. So that's just a one-time fee.
Donna, do you want to cover the
Back
Connect 10 cost?
Yes. Connect 10 is $2,000 a year. It's a bargain for everyone with that Connect 10 program. They are getting the mentors, a staff member, and they do 4 virtual meetings a year, that are based on either financials or insurance, law, legal stuff. But also they will have, sometimes they'll just decide to get together for an hour and discuss a current topic. For example, like the COVID-19 crisis that's happening now, they will just say, hey, we really need to have a discussion, and we'll set up a chat for them, and they'll go on and talk amongst each other about what they're doing to address whatever current situation there is right now. But that's $2,000 a year. It's a 2-year program with an optional 3rd year, with the idea that after you're finished with the program, you will either join another 20 club, or another new 20 club will be formed around your group. And what Bob was saying earlier about sometimes there's a wait. A lot of times it is because of market area. But the more applicants we have, the better chance we have of forming new clubs, and bringing new members on that way.
Donna,
They also share financials, the Builder 10 Club?
Yes,
Connect 10, yes.
yes.
They get the same financial services from the program that the 20 club members do. They fill it out in the same format. They get it submitted. The CPA goes through it and does an analysis, distributes the chart. So everybody got the results of all 10 members of the club, and then they were all compared during the meeting. The CPA goes over each member's financial statement, asks questions, the members ask questions, and it gets discussed. One point I want to make for our listeners is the financial statements are confidential, and you might wonder how, with so many people being involved, how they're confidential. When they come to the members of the club, they don't even have your name on them. There's a key code sent out previously that says, a local homes is key code 009. So you have to have the key code if you're in Dave's club to look up to see that the report for 009 is local homes. Everything's done by a number. and all the reports handled by the CPA and NAHB are kept confidential. As chairman of the trustees, when I was that role, or Bob, we never can see those reports except when they are distributed in a format where the 20 clubs will show the top 20, the ratios for the top 25% and the bottom 25% when they're shown in bulk, but nobody else sees those, so you don't have to worry about the confidentiality on your numbers getting spread around town.
Yes, and the 20 club information is kept completely separate from everything else at NAHB. The only people that can access 20 club files are the 20 club staff members.
So Don, I did two quick things. One would be the only other expense that a Connect 10 club member would have is that first personal.
Yeah, first in-person meeting.
But those meetings are being held in a very accessible area. I know our first meeting, I think Alan, yours too, I think they're both in Dallas, if I remember right.
At the airport.
At the airport. So you fly in on a Monday morning in theory, and you have a meeting Monday afternoon, you have dinner and yes, a cocktail or two possibly that evening, but that's called networking. You get up the next morning, you start the meeting again, you're done by noon, you fly home. So it's one night. We're going to large airports that are fairly inexpensive to fly into. So that's not a major cost either. So I will tell you my COVID-19 phone calls that I've had with my Connect 10 group have been very well attended, very active. And I say these young people, by young, I mean, I have a 50-year-old in my Connect 10. I did not know that, but I wouldn't have guessed he was 50. He's weathering very well, but his company's 3 years old. So, you know, kudos to somebody that's 47, you know, goes out on his own and starts a company and then has the fortitude and the, you know, the ability to join a group like this, because he's going to be miles ahead by the time he's my age anyway. Just because he started early. So awesome program.
We have a question about the size of companies. Dave, what's the volume range, dollar volume, unit range in your club?
Yeah, I'd say the unit range is maybe maybe a low of 75 homes a year and a max of I think our biggest is about 1,100 homes a year. The average is right between, maybe right around 350.
I would say in my club for the remodelers group, I think our smallest company is husband and wife company that they're 750,000 and they do only remodels. I think they would build a custom home if somebody asked them to. So that's pretty small. There's several of us that are in the 5 and 6 million range. We have one company that's a $10 million company in Portland, Oregon. So it varies, and there's things to learn from all sizes.
Yes.
The headaches are the same. The process is the same. And
so as far as production, you know, there's small volume production clubs that, you know, they stay within that smaller volume range, and then there's larger volumes such as Dave's club. Customs, there's the high-end custom clubs, and then there's the, you know, custom clubs. You know, we have some small volume, what we call like semi-custom, you know, builders. So yeah, there's a little bit of something for everyone. And we had a question about a link to the Connect 10 application. Actually, you would just fill out a 20 club application, and when all the applications come in, we look at the age of the companies. If we think that they may be a good fit for a Connect 10 program, we will be in touch with you about that and talk to you about that. But by no means do you have to join a Connect 10 if you are a young company. You can also be considered for a regular 20 club.
And Don, my advice would be just
there are some builders building 3 to 5 custom houses a year. So I mean, some of the companies are on the low end of the total volume range.
Right.
Yeah, and just get started. I mean, I was amazed at how good the matching process was. I mean, we found a great group right off the bat. And, you know, you guys do so much work behind the scenes to make sure that, you know, you're with a group that's like you. It seems like there's clubs for anything I've ever been able to think of. And then just that matching process of being able to, you know, have that interview and being able to talk to the group, it works so well.
So I think we've probably taken up more than our hour. Are there any more questions? I don't see Jason anymore. I didn't know if he wanted to maybe wrap up.
But Donna, I would like to share a 20 Club quote that I learned
Yes.
early on that I want our listeners to just remember, okay? Revenue kills, profit thrills. Just think about that for a second. So bigger's not better unless you're making money.
I just want to thank all the listeners for attending and hope we've conveyed a reason to motivate them to file an application tomorrow morning.
I'd like to thank everybody that was on. Thank you for Denver Metro for putting this on. It's awesome. Connie, thank you for your hard work. I know it's not easy to organize these things. Thank your EO Cherie for allowing us to doing it. Jason, Adam, all you others, Aaron and so forth, thanks for being part of this and hosting this. A great opportunity, and I thoroughly enjoyed it and hope that I can meet you guys all in person someday.
And I personally, I'm excited about it, and I love the program, and I love listening. And again, thank you to all the panelists. I also want to go ahead and thank our sponsors one more time: Lifescapes, Bellegarde, Colton Mortgage, Pella Windows, Kitchler, Ferguson, and Builders Appliance Center. Without the sponsors, we really can't put these things on. And I think this club is a huge benefit to any builder who can get involved. And I really do appreciate you guys taking your time and speaking.